Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Late Night Talk episode 18. Welcome back. So I'm going to save you know, that video for tomorrow. So of course, like my previous video that I made, I was talking about how, like we were at the time we were 24 views, if I'm not mistaken, away from that, 1,000 plateau on that Nathan Thomas video, my most popular video right now. Um, and I couldn't, thank, you guys, like ones watching this video and even the ones who, obviously, like disappeared, I still, thank them for tuning in, to, watch that video because, I mean, 1,000 views. I mean, that's like obviously, like there are bigger content creators out there who's had, more than that. But I mean, this type of stuff, obviously doesn't, come very often. It's something that comes with. I knew it would come with time. I knew that, and I wanted to see if we could possibly be able to get a video with 1,000 views, and now we do. So I just couldn't thank those you guys, the people who watched the video, like couldn't thank you guys enough about it, and I'm thinking about like going back to that. I'm thinking about like going back to that format of, how I make videos. Like I'm thinking about it. This whole late night talk thing, of course, I'm going to continue to, do it, but I'm not gonna lie, doing the small little bits, bids and stuff like that, the little small videos, like it definitely, is a little bit more convenient because it's shorter to where don't have to have, my audience, have to, sit here for like freaking 30 plus, like half an hour, listening to me talk. So I definitely think it is a little bit more, convenient, a little bit more, simple to just, you know, do a go back to that same format that I was doing before where I was doing little small videos, and stuff like that. So I think I will maybe like go back to doing that again. We'll of course continue to still do this, late night talk, but I definitely, think I'm gonna go back to, doing what I was doing as far as making those small little like videos, throughout the day sometimes. So, but yeah, we're gonna make a video on that, tomorrow, Nathan Thomas film session video. So stay tuned. Cause it's definitely, like it's something we've never done before, but it's something I definitely want to try out. So let's get into this. So, obviously, I haven't made a video in about a couple of days, 3 days actually. And the next day, of course, like about, because I made the video about, you know, Dak Prescott's, MRI supposedly by that professional sports better, but and I'm just like, this is a joke, right? And turns out the next day after I made that video, the next day found out that never mind, it was true that Dak Prescott didn't was in fact, dealing with something because it showed a report showed Dak Prescott in. I was hoping that he was walking in, some cow the I was hoping that the paparazzi, or whatever was, caught Dak Prescott walking in cowboy boots, but unfortunately, No, he was walking in a medical walking boot. So obviously that's unfortunate. And I would like to clarify that it's also on his right foot, you know? So, and they were saying something about an ankle. So it's his right ankle. And I don't want to, like, scare anybody, of course. Like, scare anybody or worry anybody or anything like that. But remember that when Dak had the compound fracture, back in 2020 against the Giants, when Logan Ryan came in and made a hip drop tackle on Dak that wound up, fracturing his ankle. That was his right ankle, and of course, he had to get it surgically repaired and, went through surgery, to, get it back to speed. And here's the thing, Dak has been back, of course. What's crazy enough is even after that injury, which Dak was betting on himself, he played on a contract year that year, because he was, of course, under the franchise tag at the time that injury happened. So this was unfortunate news for the fans, but it was also at the time felt like unfortunate news for Dak because it felt like, what if that was his last game as a Cowboy? Because understand he's playing under a tag. He's trying to play for a new contract, and an injury like that can only set you back for even longer. If not just somebody else deciding to take the risk and wanting to give him a contract and he ends up signing with them. So, yeah, that was a very tense and concerning situation when it happened 4 years ago. But my point is that, listen, we all know that, like Dak Prescott, of course, has been, ever since like the Chargers game on Monday Night Football last year, Dak has been back to, using his legs a bit more. He's been getting back to using his legs a bit more, because, we always were asking, like, Dak needs to use his legs more. He needs to use his legs more. Well, he finally did. And I really felt like it really, it really, raised his game to a very high level. We always knew what he could bring to the table as far as throwing in the pocket and his accuracy and his velocity on some of those throws, but we know also how effective he can be outside of the pocket. Being able to throw the ball on the run very well, and being able to just get out of the pocket and make plays. That's why normally he's very good at play action, roll out, sprint outs, you name it. Either way, we wanted him to get back to doing that, using his legs more, because it felt like he was really, at times, those first 2.5 years, of course, 2021, 22, and half of that 2023 season. I guess it wasn't really half of the season. It was like the first quarter of the 2023 year, really. So I guess two and a quarter of years, Dak has been really like, limiting himself, becoming more like within the pocket than actually like moving around since that injury. And that's where I was, trying to, pitch in at, is that ever since that injury, Dak has not been running the ball anywhere close to as much as he was doing before. And I just felt like it's very possible that Dak Prescott might never be the same again physically as far as what he brings to the table as a runner. And that it felt very much like that. It's not just the fact that he wasn't running the ball as much anymore, using his legs as much. It was the fact that even when he did actually try to move out of the pocket and stuff like that, he didn't look that quick. Like he looked, no offense to Dak, but he looked pretty slow normally when he would, try to get out of the pocket and try to make something happen. Like there were sometimes even D linemen that were sometimes getting a hold of him trying to chase him down. If not chasing him down, it was a close race trying to get him. And that's just not the Dak Prescott that I had known his first 5 seasons, first 4 seasons and 5 games of his career up to that point of that injury. Like Dak we know that he's not Lamar Jackson. We know he's not Kyler Murray. But I believe he has the ability to move just as well as Patrick Mahomes. And believe me, people try to give Patrick Mahomes his, a little bit of criticism, like, like he, like, how are they not getting him? Like like they think that he's slow, but when it seems like every time when he gets out of the pocket and he takes off and runs, that boy be moving. That boy be moving. And that's how Dak Prescott was pre ankle injury. He was moving. I would say before the injury, Dak probably had like an 82 speed. I play Madden. So yeah, like I'm going off of that. Like he probably had like 82 speed in Madden, his first, like 5 years and 5 games. Like he could move, that boy could move. He's not Lamar Jackson or anything, but he can run and he can run pretty quick. But post ankle injury, he looks like he runs at about a 73 speed. A 73 speed or a 72 speed. Like it's just not the Dak Prescott that I had known as far as normally when he would use his legs, run, and all that stuff. Like it's just not the same. And I've talked about this on my own time before, on my own time before, just thinking about it, but I just had never made a video on it. I feel like I don't think we realize how impactful and effective that ankle injury that he suffered 4 years ago actually did to him physically. Because look, I mean, we can't, like deny the fact that Dak Prescott has not been moving as quick and fast as he was before the ankle injury. We were able to run RPOs, quarterback keepers, and he could run and, pick up some nice gainers. Now, when he takes off and runs, like, he looks slow, like, he just does. He looks like, we're not talking about someone who lost a step, like he's just getting older. No, we're talking about a guy who's running like he can't push off of that ankle to get explosion off of that foot anymore like he once did before. And that's why he sometimes be looking like he has a 72 speed or something. And it's just, and now we hear about that he does have a sort of an ankle issue. And listen, I will be upfront just as well as maybe some other people have. I think Dak will be okay. I think that this is something that I'm sure Dak has known for a while. It's not something that just came up, you know. Like, I'm sure it's something that Dak has been knowing about for a while, and he's been nursing it for a while, you know? Like, trying to rest it, trying to get it healed up in time for training camp, who, by the way, it is almost 2 weeks until, day one of training camp starts. So, you know, yeah, so Dak is just trying to preparate, get himself right before, we get into training camp. And the fact of the matter is, he doesn't have to truly be ready until week one of the regular season, because we know that the Cowboys don't play their starters ever in the preseason. So we don't have to worry about him as far as his injury status in the preseason games, because he's not going to play. So we don't have to worry about that. It's a matter of him just being ready to play the start of the regular season. And I promise you, I'm sure he will be, good to go. But I'm just saying, it does have me thinking, like when they tell me that it's about his ankle and it's on his right ankle, his right foot, um, it has me thinking. Like, I feel does this have some after effects to do everything that has gone on for Dak Prescott as far as his running ability that has changed, drastically ever since he's come off of that ankle injury. Like, is it very possible that, a lot of the after effects are really starting to come into play, starting to come into fruition? Because, it does kind of have me thinking a little bit. Dak has not been running the same, not as quick, like taking off as he once was. Like, look, I mean, I know that, there are some speedy linebackers out there in the NFL, including Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, but I'm just saying, that playoff game against the Packers where he got ran down, and I believe that was just an edge rusher of the Packers, when he was trying to get away and try to take off and run, he kind of got chased down. And I'm just thinking to myself, what happened, bro? I mean, like, it's been an ongoing theme that I've been thinking about, and I'm just thinking to myself, what happened? And I'm going to tell you right now, I think it was that injury, that ankle. That ankle has made Dak, as far as a runner, not the same anymore. He just doesn't look as explosive, like, as he was before. And look, I think he'll be fine as far as being able to come back, but I'm just saying, like, that ankle definitely has, handicapped him a little bit as far as his running ability. Now, he can still sometimes be able to buy time and improvise in the pocket and stuff like that. But as far as being able to run and truly extend plays and make big plays with his legs, it just hasn't truly been the same like it was before. I remember Dakota Prescott when he first came into the league, and this dude would be out there he was running, man, and but it just doesn't look the same anymore, like, it just doesn't. He looks like Kirk Cousins, and that is pretty harsh, but I'm just saying. So, like I said, I think he'll be fine, but it's just I don't know about, his ability as far as being able to run. I think he's capable still, but just not what he once was before the injury. So, I mean, it is what it is. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, what is the definition of a game manager? Let's sit here and think about this. What exactly is the definition of a game manager? Because if you ask me and you look at some quarterbacks in the NFL, I would say that Brock Purdy, I think he's a game manager. I think that Jalen Hurts in, 2022 was a game manager. I think that because here's the thing. I feel like, game managers can be described in so many different ways. A game manager is not just somebody who doesn't take a lot of chances. Game managers are not Alex Smith or Dak Prescott early in his career. Like that's not that's not all what a game manager is. A game manager is somebody who can be able to just execute the offense, execute it productively, and still at the same time being able to make plays and win and make plays. You know, I think Dak Prescott. I don't think. I don't think that he is a game manager. I think he is a guy who wins you games. He is a game changer, if you ask me. Dak Prescott is a game changer because he puts the team. I don't know if people understand how much Dak Prescott really put the team on his back last year. Like, I made a video about this before. You know, like the first video of Late Night Talk. I think I talked about it, about the lack of support and him really just putting the team on his back. And, basically, just because, especially late in the season, I felt like the running game was piss poor. I felt like the defense, slowed down and lost a little bit of that fire that they once had, for all of 2022 and most of 2023. Like, I feel like they really lost it and they were very inconsistent. They had games like against Philadelphia. I felt like the defense didn't play well. They had games like against Buffalo where they obviously were terrible. I know that the offense struggled, but the defense didn't help the case by being out there for so long because they kept on getting ran roughshod by the Buffalo Bills in that game. It certainly didn't help the situation. And then I felt like they looked pretty lackluster against Miami. The pressure just wasn't there. Sometimes even the DBs, the secondary, wasn't really there as far as putting pressure on the receivers. And then, of course, there's the game against Seattle where I felt like that game against Seattle was a sign of things to come. Because you saw Geno Smith was just dicing up our defense. He was dicing us up in that game. And it just, was it was pathetic. It was disgusting what I was seeing out there on the field by that defense. So, and it was a sign of things to come. That's certainly the case, because then we had the game against the Packers where I look away when I think about that Packers game. I mean, it was so bad. I felt like the offense wasn't as bad as you think. They struggled in the first half, but I felt like they really picked it up and made some adjustments in the second half. But the defense, just as Wanye Thomas said, they gave up, you know? So it's hard for you to ask the offense to try to get us back in this thing when the defense can't stop a nosebleed, because they're just out there playing with no effort whatsoever. And it just, they were bad. They were pretty bad. They were very inconsistent. And yes, while statistically they were a top 5 defense, they obviously, when you watch the games, they didn't look all that good. They didn't look all that great. You know, and look, I understand you're going to have your bumps and bruises sometimes, like everybody, even the great defenses like the 49ers have, maybe a couple bad games. But we had a number of bad games defensively last year. And the offense really had to carry the weight. And more importantly, Dak Prescott had to carry the weight, because it wasn't like it was just the offense that carried the weight as a whole. No, because the running game was terrible on a number of occasions last year, to where we had to say, okay, Dak, go put the team on your back and go win the game for us. He did that on numerous occasions. He did that against the Chargers. He almost did that against Philadelphia the first time. He did that against Seattle, and he almost did that against Miami, and I know people are going to be like, almost. But yeah, and he kind of did that against Detroit too, literally. Defender had Dak Prescott dead to rights, and he broke out of the sack, got out of the pocket, threw it on the run to CeeDee Lamb, touchdown. So I mean, he put the team on his back on numerous occasions. So when I look at Dak, I look at a guy who is a game changer, who can impact the game, because he can literally put the team on his back when nobody else is doing a dang thing. So, I mean, you look at it, I feel like there's only like maybe a few to a couple quarterbacks who you can really like call them game changers, quarterbacks that can put the team on their back. I feel like those quarterbacks are Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, of course, and Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson, I feel like Lamar Jackson, in a sense, the reason why he can't put the team on his back is because I haven't seen him yet in a situation where he go in the game, Lamar. Go out there, and I don't mean go out there and win the game by trying to just run around like a headless chicken, run around like, run around like what Kyler Murray be doing. He be out there running like he's a little kid who just stole something, taking something that's not his. I don't mean that. No, I mean go out there and win the game. Go through your progressions, go through your reads, and make the throws, and go win us the game with your arm. and he just doesn't really do that. But these guys can, that I just mentioned. Dak, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. There's only, a few guys you can really think of that can really put the team on their back. CJ Stroud, I feel like he's got too many weapons. He had too much help. I feel like still to feel like he truly put the team on his back. As great as he played, he still had a lot of help. He still had the defensive rookie of the year. He still had a top 10 defense led by D'Amico Ryans, the defensive guru. Like he still had a pretty dang good offensive line protecting him. He still had some pretty, capable weapons like Nico Collins, Tank Dell before he tore his ACL. So I don't know if he's really like had a moment where he put the team on his back, you know. So I can't put him in that, category yet. Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow has quite a bit of help, has quite a bit of help. Like as far as like game changers are guys who I feel like they don't have the greatest of help around them, but yet they can still go out there and win the game for their team. And Josh Allen does it, Dak Prescott does it, Patrick Mahomes does it. Matter of fact, he does it even in Super Bowls. He does it in Super Bowls, man. So, yes, there's only a few quarterbacks out there that you can truly say that they can just take over take over the game and win it by themselves. So, yeah, and that's just how I feel about those certain type of quarterbacks. That those guys aren't game changers. I'm not going to say all of them are game managers, I mean, obviously here's the thing. Like, isn't that your job as a quarterback to manage the game? You're supposed to manage the game. You're supposed to manage the game to the best of your ability. But at the same time, you still got to go out there and make some plays for your team in order to win. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much it, to close, like, apparently I was wrong. We were wrong about the whole, speculations on Dak's MRI, thinking that it was just a joke, or that it was a bunch of, crap. It's real. And the update about that it's on his right ankle, that he's got the walking boot on, definitely has me thinking of it has me taking a trip down memory lane back to when he had a compound fracture on that right ankle against the Giants back in 2020. And yeah, just I feel like some effects that has happened to him physically as far as a runner is concerned ever since that injury. And yes, Dak Prescott is a game changer who can put the team on his back. And I named, of course, a couple others too who I believe can do that. But, what's a game manager? Well, game manager can be a lot of things. So yeah, let me know y'all's thoughts. Post comments down below, like what your thoughts and opinions on all this. Do you believe that Dak Prescott is a game changer? A guy who can go out there and, put the team on his back like Allen and Mahomes do? Because I believe he's shown it on, plenty of occasions. And, especially this past year, I still feel like it was a crime that he didn't win league MVP, but hey, who am I? But, that's pretty much it. And so like and subscribe to all my audience, to all of Cowboys Nation. This is Late Night Talk, episode 18. Again, appreciate you guys, and we are